What's up, everyone? I'm Abram.
And I'm RJ.
Welcome to Proverbs.
Brittney Griner special. All right, we are preparing some very well done episodes for you guys for our first the whole kit and caboodle. But based on recent events, particularly this Brittney Griner sentencing, we decided we were just going to jump on, kind of an emergency talk session on this, kind of like an emergency podcast broadcast over what's going on with Brittney Griner and Russia.
For those who don't know who Brittney Griner is, she's an American women's professional basketball player. She played college ball for the Baylor Lady Bears before being picked first overall in the 2013 WNBA draft by the Phoenix Mercury, who is still her team today. She's a two-time Olympic gold medalist from the 2016 Rio and 2020 Japan Olympic Games, and a 6 to 8 time All-Star, sources vary, and a one-time WNBA champion. She's also one of a handful of women to dunk in a college game, so the girl's got her accolades, the girl's got game for sure.
Holla! Girl is game.
When it comes to her arrest details, on February 17th, she was arrested at the international airport near Moscow. The name is at the bottom of the screen so I don't butcher it. In early March, Russia made it public that Brittney Griner was detained on drug charges. Unfortunately, Russia began its invasion of Ukraine just weeks before, but what surely complicates matters further is that tensions were rising higher between Russia and the United States over our friendly and strategic relations with Ukraine, and also with the United States imposing several sanctions on Russia's economy and political elites. Russian Federal Customs Service said its officials found vape cartridges that contained hashish oils in her luggage.
Marijuana.
The weeks before Griner's arrest, the State Department had warned Americans against traveling to Russia and urged any Americans in Russia to leave the country immediately. But, like other WNBA stars, Griner heads overseas during the off-season to make more money. The Customs Service announced that a criminal case had been opened into the large-scale transportation of drugs, which carries a sentence up to 10 years in a Russian prison. When the trial began, prosecutors claimed it to be a significant amount that Brittney Griner had been smuggling in, but it was later brought to light that Griner was arrested with 0.702 grams of cannabis oil. Some details of the trial is after pleading guilty on July 7th on the advice of her counsel, hoping for leniency and expressing that she packed the oil by mistake when packing hastily, she was sentenced to 9.5 years on August 4th. Supposedly, this sentencing was after the court took into consideration Griner's partial admission of guilt, remorse, state of health, and charitable activities. 10 years is the max sentence for this crime, and they took off 6 months. Some argue that Russia's court proceedings, particularly for this case, are not legitimate, but a performance to drive up the bargaining price. In recent years, United States officials have accused Russia of detaining and sentencing American citizens on ramped-up charges. The LGBTQ community in Russia says that it is often harassed and discriminated against by its own government. So with that, I ask you, is the WNBA player being used as a political pawn, being used by Russia or for some kind of a prisoner swap?
I mean, in my opinion, if you're asking me, obviously you are. In my opinion, they're being petty. It's because, as you said, the war with Ukraine started a few weeks prior. Obviously, it wouldn't be far-fetched to assume that Putin's got, the government and security on high alert. The price of Americans go up anyway, so she gets caught with this, small amount of cannabis oil or hashish oil. And it's like, she's not only a celebrity in America, but she's a celebrity in Russia. She's going over there to play ball for Russia. Some of my research that I did on it, and apparently they make more money over there. Is what some of my research is. Correct me if I'm wrong, but so
I
I
saw the
think
same
it's
thing.
like, lay it on me.
I saw the same thing. I'm trying to figure out why Russians are more interested in watching women's basketball than Americans. I saw they're making like millions of dollars over there. The top athletes
Yeah,
over here are making like $500,000 in the WNBA.
man, check the British broadcast channel. Look that stuff up online. They've already done studies about how America pays its citizens far less than a lot of these other countries will pay for the same jobs. So, I mean, interest may not even be there, but the value and what they're willing to pay people uh, obviously is higher. And with Brittney Griner, bargaining chip, maybe, yes. I mean, I know from my research, the Biden administration is trying to get her back, trying to get her home safely. Obviously, she deserves to be, at home. She deserves to be back in America. Um, the fact is, we side with Ukraine. They started this war with Ukraine, and it was obvious from the jump that America was like, nah, and we were aiding Ukraine. So I think it's a lot of pettiness. I mean, Biden, apparently the Biden administration, our government's trying to get her back and offering 3 prisoners for her. So we got, a 3-to-1 swap here, and he's still got to consider or think about it. And some sources I read, said they may want to do their meeting in private. But yeah, I think it's a combination. I think if you're even going to consider accepting the prisoner swap, you really shouldn't make those prisoners wait. It's not like they don't know. It's not like our government didn't go and say, hey, you're the 3 lucky ones we've selected to be traded over. So they're waiting on, their leader to bring them home. And I think the more he plays these games, he's not earning, I don't believe, the trust of his own people more so. But who am I to speak on that? I think it's foul play. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a combination of things, and I think the fact that we side with Russia, or that blah, I think it's a combination of things, and I think the fact that we side with Ukraine and we've been giving the Ukraine aid plays a large part in it.
In regards to Griner, I mean, understandably so. Her wife, her coach, and teammates back home in the United States, they want her back home. I'm going to point out, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but the samples taken from Griner show that there were no traces of drug use in her system, meaning she hadn't even smoked the cartridges when she was in Russia, which further supports her argument that she really did just pack this in a hurry and just totally debunks this whole deal and just makes it really does make it a whole circus that they gave her 9.5 years for this. I think it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, come on, man. She had
Come on, man.
less than a for real. Like Boozy says, come on, man. Like she had less than a gram of cartridge, and they said it was multiple cartridges that totaled that amount. So these were used old cartridges for all we know. They were left in the bag from a previous trip, which it's legal in most places in America. And from what I read, she also has a medical prescription for it. If you're packing to go on a trip somewhere, and your intention is to smoke those hash cartridges, those marijuana cartridges, you're gonna take a brand new one. You're gonna take a brand new one, probably unopened. A couple of them, maybe something to last you. If you're only going to take one, you're definitely not going to take almost an almost empty one. A couple of almost empty ones. If you're going to take it on a trip, you're going to take one. Even if it's not brand new, you're going to take one that's almost full, If you're like, I don't need much, whatever, half full, you're going to take one. You're not going to take two that they had to scrape together to figure out exactly how much, and it equaled less than a gram. It's bogus. And I mean, if I'm not mistaken, when I was looking this up, and doing my little bit of research, and like, that's the maximum amount. Yet, I believe there was an individual who got caught with a significantly larger amount and received a significantly lesser sentence.
To the max. The person you're referring to is an American 19-year-old by the name of Audrey Lorber, who was arrested in Russia in 2019 after entering the country with 19 grams of THC on a family vacation. I'm not for sure, but I think that this was actual marijuana. I think these were buds. Again, 19 times. If you recall, what I said earlier in the show is that Brittney Griner was detained for 0.7 grams of THC. That means that Miss Lorber had more than 19 times the amount that Griner had. But on top of that, Lorber was found guilty and released after a 2-month detention and fined.
Wait, what'd she get?
What's that?
What'd she get?
She was released after a 2-month detention and she was fined 15,000 rubles, as opposed to Brittney Griner's 9.5 years and 1 million ruble fine.
What? There ain't no way. No way.
Sources say. So.
Well, I'm not much of a source, but this source right here says foul play. That is wonky, dude. That is if it's. I mean, I'm gonna say obviously it's our involvement in aiding Ukraine is a major part of it. Ethnicity, orientation, disposition could be, other types
factors.
Of variables, factors, sprinkles on the effed up cake, But let's be real. 2019 wasn't long ago at all. 2019 was like the height of a lot of stuff going on. And that much for that little 2 months versus the almost maximum sentence of 10 years. And she did not have any in her system. Zero. Zilch. Nada. Goose egg. Goose egg. It is. It's bogus. And that's a problem, People, everybody can be petty. It doesn't matter if you're the leader of a nation. Doesn't matter if you're somebody sitting in his basement. But it's wrong. They need to get her home. They need to let her come home. Fact of the matter is he may be sitting around kind of trying to weigh out their options, see what more they can get from us. I'm happy to see that we are trying as hard as we are. I mean, 3 to 1. And they probably, wouldn't mind paying the fine as long as she got to come home.
I think there might be 2 more Americans that I read something about. There's like a teacher and someone that's accused of being an American spy or something like that. But I also want to point out that I know for sure that one of the people they're talking about swapping for Griner, who Russia wants is like an arms dealer or an arms smuggler or something like that. So I just want to point out the quality of the people that we're talking about switching out. I mean, Russia wants, I don't know anything about this guy, but whom sounds like a criminal compared to, Brittney Griner, who was arrested in another country, who's on the brink of war for a little bit of marijuana. Come on, there's nothing wrong with marijuana. I don't care if it's illegal in Russia. I see people on social media disappointing talking about, she shouldn't have brought it over there, blah, blah, blah. And I just think that it's not the time for that. She's an American citizen. She needs our help. Let's help her.
She wasn't partying. She didn't have it. She didn't even have it in her system. It was an honest mistake.
Absolutely.
There are a lot of people. There are a lot of people out there. I wouldn't say a lot of people necessarily watching this yet, but there are a lot of people out there that would say, "Oh yeah, man, I snuck a pocket shot into a concert once. Oh yeah, man, I'll sneak a little extra schnapps in my coffee, on the way to work even. Oh man, sometimes I like to go into the movie theaters and I like to bring me a little pocket shot and toss it in the slushies. Hey, you're sneaking in outside alcohol. Whether now they have movie theaters where you can buy alcohol, people are like, I'm not going to spend that much money on alcohol. Kids, not kids, people of age, still illegally sneaking in at all kinds of events, all kinds of things. And I guarantee you, if one of them got caught with a pocket shot in their boot and they were about to look at 9.5, 10 years in jail, they're going to be in there crying about they don't care what the law was. It's just a tiny little pocket shot. They weren't doing anybody any harm. So everybody can miss me with that.
Truth.
Yeah. So miss me with that whole, she shouldn't have done it. Well, the law is the law. Well, maybe she did make a mistake, but we got to pay for our mistakes. Yeah, you wouldn't say that for all the mistakes you make. These people that say that are the same people that get pissed off at officers when they don't let them off with a warning.
You wouldn't say it if it was your sister or your mother. You'd be like, oh, please, please, please send her back home. So I just have to say, if you partake, don't discriminate.
Same people that get mad if they don't get a warning for a speeding ticket. But the law's the law, right? Miss me with that. At least let her come home. She's not a Russian citizen. She's not a U.S. spy. She is a Russian celebrity. She was helping grow the Russian economy when she's over there playing ball. Yeah, she's earning money down there, but she's doing a service to them. She's entertaining, the Russian fans. She's helped building the Russian economy, the Russian entertainment, industry. So there are a lot of reasons why he probably should have went ahead and said sure and traded those three right off the bat. If I was one of those three, I would probably be contemplating switching over. I'd be switching sides if I knew he's just sitting over there, like really having to think about it. If I was a spy for Russia and I'm one of the ones that I'm being considered, traded back. I don't know the details of the trade. Still, come on.
All I know is that, again, we're talking about less than a gram of cannabis oils, and she's got sentenced for 9.5 years. I don't care if it's some kind of a war. They shouldn't have even done this prison sentencing in the first place. They should have just sent her home immediately. Like, we're talking about something very minor. It's clear that she's being used as a political pawn. Again, I don't care that it's illegal in Russia to have weed or smoke weed. We all know there's nothing wrong with marijuana. It baffles me that it's illegal in Russia. It baffles me that it's still illegal in certain parts of the country in the United States. Still federally illegal. So it needs to be decriminalized. It needs to be legal. The people that are in prison in America need to be released if they're in prison for some kind of marijuana charge, especially the ones that are detained for similar charges like 1 gram, 2 grams, something like that. Things need to change, but in Brittney Griner's case, she needs to be sent back home. Send her back home.
Facts. And shout out to Virginia because our former governor, he actually did release prisoners that were in for minor drug marijuana offenses when they legalized in Virginia. But yeah, the basic fact of the matter is what makes it sketch, what makes it hogwash, what makes it messed up no matter how you slice it, is someone had 19 times the amount and got off in 2 months. There should be no other variables, no other differences If anything, that 0.7 should have been like, listen, okay, honest mistake, we're tossing this. Get out of here, celebrity person. I mean, the fact of the matter is weed may be illegal in Russia, but they're smoking weed in Russia. I know for a fact they're smoking weed in Russia. I have friends from college who are from Russia who talked about weed in Russia. So, but seriously though, I mean, I can't wait till she's home. I know there's no way that this ends for Brittney Griner. I did see where they're appealing it. She's going to come home. Maybe he's making a statement. Maybe there's more to what he's trying to prove or what he's trying to flex. You know, everybody out there flexing now. Except, I don't know, I haven't heard about no Kim Jong, but we're not going to go there. Fact of the matter is it's wrong if you argue that, well, the law is the law. Well, if the law was the law, 19 times more. And I'm not saying that girl should have gotten 9.5 years or 10 years. I'm saying it's obvious that if you can get caught with that much and have a 2-month detention and pennies in comparison to someone who had a smidgen in comparison and 0 in her system. Didn't even use it out there. Didn't even break the law on that front. And they're going to try to give her and slap her with 9.5 years. She should have been out in 2 weeks if that girl with 19 times the amount got 2 months. Periodita!
What?
Periodita.
I appreciate that clarification because it was absolutely needed. So we're going to wrap this up when it comes to Brittney Griner, but I appreciate everybody who tuned in, want to know what you think, so please put it in the comments. Do you agree? Do you disagree? What are you thinking about this Brittney Griner situation? What are you thinking about this
Save the ignorance.
Russia-Ukraine situation?
Save the ignorance.
We have a lot of other things that we're going to be talking about in our future podcasts, but like RJ said earlier,
this is real too.
Like RJ said earlier, like some things have happened in the past couple of days that we want to touch on because it is kind of in our general hub of our interest of things we want to talk about. We're going to get into maybe China. What happened with Taiwan?
Oh, not maybe, baby. Oh, we definitely getting into China. And shit's getting real, y'all. Like, for real, you'll want to tune in.
It's getting real. Mad real.
Like, real. Like, you got to say it twice. It's getting real.
We're joking about it because we're trying to keep from crying about it, but it is scary. But on that note, let us know what you think in the comments. Please also like, subscribe, and share with your friends. So light up that like button.
And ding that bell.
To subscribe and find out what we have in store for you next time. This is Proverbs.
Signing out.